homebrewers, and welcome to my channel. So I am revisiting a previous video that I did, which was the super malt stout. Now I just literally got the super malt, degassed it and fermented it, and it was actually quite nice. It didn't have much of a head on it, and it also didn't have any hops or anything like that, so I wanted to come back and try again. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So in front of you is what I'm going to be using. Now I've got my super malt where I'm going to be using 12 of these bad boys, which is less than I did before. That's because I'm going to be topping it up with a bit of water that's going to have my lovely oat mix in, lovely oats, to bring down the alcohol to somewhere around 6%. So that's the theory. Now I've taken my oats and I've measured out 120 grams of oats, which is this lovely bag here, and I put them in my frying pan and I toasted them. Now they did have a tendency to stick, so some are slightly darker than the others, but this lovely toasting I'm hoping will stop it from all gelatinizing together into one blob and also provide a bit of flavour. Now I'm going to be using my citra hops because I like citra. I do like the citrus notes that you get in them, but I'm only going to be using about 5 grams, just a little teeny tiny bit, that I'm going to be adding in at the end just to give sort of like a slightly lemony, limey kind of citrus flavour. And I'm going to be using ale yeast. So I'm going to get set up and we're going to make this brew. I've just boiled my kettle, and the tools I'm going to be using for extracting the lovely starches from my oats is very simple. It's like a steeping bag except a lot smaller because we're only making a gallon batch. So I've got my washed and clean sieve, and I've got a little pan. This happens to be a camping pan I just keep around, and it fits almost perfectly to the bottom. So in goes my 120 grams of toasted oats, looking toasty, and then I am going to be adding in just enough water just to cover it. Now hopefully this will, funny enough, clear up a lot easier. So I'm just going to grab my kettle and pour some water. So here's me with my kettle. Now I don't have to be exact with this, mainly because I'm going to be adding water anyway. So in they go. There we go. And it's already making a brown tea. Sort of like an oat tea. Sounds lovely. So because my bag of oats has been added boiled water, I don't need to sterilize it. Just like I don't need to sterilize my pan, it just has to be clean, which it is. So now I'm just going to be adding my super malt in to degas it, and I'm heating it through just to drive off the CO2 quicker. This could take a minute. Look at that lovely golden black nectar. Mmm, yummy. So, magically, I've appeared with the last bottle, and in it goes. Look at that black nectar. Oh, here we go. Now I'm going to start the heating process. Now the heating is going to sterilize it, but it's also going to drive the CO2 off faster. There are other ways to do it, but I want to make sure that this ferments properly. So here we go. And now I'm just going to keep going until all of this foam that keeps going disappears, which is going to take a minute as far as I remember. So if you're wondering, the super malt content is actually just slightly under 4 litres, and then I'm going to be topping it up in my 5 litre water container, pretty much the top, to make 5 litres. Now I have an unopened one here, so you can use them, but I've actually sterilised one in the corner with bleach and washing up liquid, which is quite happily just sterilising away. So I'm going to be using that one. So a few minutes have passed now, and my liquid is now starting to, funny enough, come up to temperature. So it's definitely sterile. I can't touch the sides, and all the foam has disappeared. So I have pre-measured 5 grams of these hops using my scales, and it doesn't look a lot, but they are pellets. So I'm just going to dump them in, and yeah, just going to turn off the heat now because it is mightily hot, and I'm just going to let this cool down. So we'll be back once this is cool. So I've just left the lovely hops just to steep in here for about 15 minutes. It's still, as you can tell, quite warm, but it smells good. It's kind of malty, very slightly citrusy. And now it's time to add in the final bits before we cool it down. So these are the oats. Now they are, funny enough, they haven't all congregated together into a gnarly mass, which is what I was hoping for. And they also have a nice flavour. They actually do smell pretty damn good. And the tea that you get is a dark brown colour. And it is forming little bubbles, so hopefully this will be quite cool. So I'm just going to pour in my lovely liquid so you can see. Look at that beautiful colour. Go, little chunks, just let that drain. And now I'm going to put it in a water bath. Now this is pretty cool because I can feel sort of like the slipperiness from the starches in the oats. So I'm really hoping that this gives a good head, which we didn't have last time. So I'm going to go and put this in my water bath to cool it down rapidly, and then we're going to get bottling it up and hydrometer testing. My water bath has cooled this down. It took about 15 minutes, so we had 15 minutes of hot hopping, and then it's just been left in there to cool down, so it has a total of 30 minutes, but not on the boil, because I'm not a great fan of the bitter. So what I've done is I've got my sterilized water container. Now you can just use a fresh one that you buy, it's instantly sterilized, but I have surplus of these, so I thought might as well clean one. So I've also sterilized my funnel, and I've also sterilized my sieve. Now the sieve is going to catch any particles that I've missed, and also some of the hop gloop, because well, I don't want hops in there. It's done its job. It smells pretty good actually. It smells malty, slightly lemony currently, and also a little oaty, which is nice. So in we go. Ooh. And there goes the hop bits. There's some of them there. And there's the rest of them there. That was pretty successful. There we go. So I'm just going to top this up a little bit with water just to bring it up to here. I'm not really too worried about foaming currently. We shall see. So I'm just going to top this up to here, and we should be good to go. So now it's being topped up with some water. What we've got to do is shake it up. One, this will aerate it because the heat drives off, funny enough, the oxygen. And we need oxygen in there to get our yeast off to a flying start. And two, it's going to mix up all of the sugars and stuff in there so we get a good reading. So that's what I'm going to do. There we go. And yeah, it is forming a nice sort of head already, so in theory this should form a head. Fingers crossed. So I'm just going to let these bubbles die down, and then we are going to take a hydrometer reading. So we'll be right back. So the bubbles have died down. It only took a minute or so, but you don't want to sit around for a minute watching that. So I've got my hydrometer, which is sterilized, even the tube sterilized because I was lazy. And let's see what this is going to turn out like. Still think it's going to be quite high. There wasn't as much liquid to add in as I thought, but still should be somewhere in a respectable beer. Alright, so it is saying that it is 8%, so this should turn out somewhere around 6.5 to 7%. So that's not bad. Let's give this a taste since I don't need this anymore. It's nice. It's malty. It's got a bit of smoke to it from the oats. Kind of mouth coating already, so that's a plus. So yeah, I may regret topping it up this high, but we shall see. So now I've got my ale yeast. Looking lovely. And I'm just going to pour a sprinkle in there, which we should be good to go. There we go. Now, I'm not going to be adding any yeast nutrient in there because it is primarily a malt-based drink, so it has, in theory, everything it takes to ferment it to a good beer. So I'm going to put the cap on and just turn it like a quarter turn. Ooh, there we go, just so it catches but doesn't come off, so the air can escape. And yeah, that is a very simple airlock. So this is done. In theory this should take around 21 days to finish, and then we get to bottle it. Maybe it'll be done before, don't know. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to rate, comment, like, share, and of course subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Catch you later. Cheers.